Hello learners, in this lecture I'll be discussing about regular expression which is also known as regex. So what this regex is also known as regular expression is a powerful tool for matching the patterns in the dataset. In the analysis of text data, it is very important, used for all kind of pre-processing and manipulation. It is a sequence of a character that define a given pattern. Regex are used for finding the text, manipulating the text data or validation of the text data and many more. Regex are supported in all the environments and text processing tools. Let us understand this regex with an example. So take an example, you have a data where it consists of all the abstract of the publications. Now you want to know what all license under which these articles have been published. So this information you won't get when you will be downloading the data from either of the bibliographic database. So this information will be in the text, either in the abstract or maybe on the full text. So you need to extract this information from this text data. How you will do? So first we need to identify that what information we are extracting. So this is the information. Okay. Okay. So let first see how we do manually to identify this particular information in the text. So we are very habitual of doing this. How we do? We generally use this Control plus F to find any text in particular file. So we'll use that only. So here I have taken up all those last line from the text and pasted on this slide. Okay. So I have to identify that what license they are using. So in Google slide we can do by Control F, like license. So by searching simply license, we can easily find out that okay, these are the text where it matches the license. Okay, but it didn't matches license 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. How we will do that? So one way is that we'll just simply write the number, but it will match only this license only. Okay, or maybe this license if we write 3, but it won't match license 1 or 2 or 4. So what we can do here is, so we need some kind of a solution that matches license also and this number also. So this is our text, and 1.0, license 2.0, license 3.0, license 4.0. So if you see here, there is a pattern is there. Okay, what pattern is there? So this license word is common in all these 4 statements. Okay, so and another thing is that then this is common. So these are numbers. Okay, some numbers are there. So what kind of pattern is there? That there is a word, then numbers. Okay, so this is what we need to identify in the text. So we'll write here license, then space 1, 2, 3, 4, and if we go to these 3 dots, we'll see here, we'll just use the regular expression and just put this here. Okay, so if you see here that we have written license, then space and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what exactly it is means? It means that search for license, then space, and then either 1, 2, 3 or 4. Okay, there is another way also of doing this. So we can say, so there is a word and after that space is there, and then from 0 to 9 any digit can come. Okay, so that is why it's searching here this license 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So this is what regex is. It makes our task easier to find a pattern in a given text data set. Okay, so say for example, instead of this sc we write c, because in different language style we write license. And we have also seen in R that there are 2 functions to know about the license. So if we do like this, and then now if we do Control F and if we go to our now if we are doing simple search, then like say for example license, it will search only this only. But if we can do like this, okay. So we have identified. So with this regular expression, it identify all kind of license, all kinds of writing license. So this is license is there, and license 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. Now you can restrict also that you want to see in a text data that what all documents are there which are using the license either 2.0 or 4.0. So for that, what you will do, you can write that simply 2, 4. Okay. So it will retrieve you the text where license 2.0 is there and license 4.0 is there. Okay. So this is what the power of regex is. Okay. And how it helps in analyzing the text data. So don't worry if you don't know that how this 2 and 4 is coming, we'll discuss again. So this is just an example to discuss about that what is exactly regex do. Okay. So regex is a kind of a special code that identify and matches the patterns available in the text data. Okay. So if we see the word like this gray or maybe color, okay, or maybe behavior, okay. So these all words are conveying the same meaning, but they have been written in different standards. Okay. So that is why this regex helps in matching up the similar words but written in different way. Okay. And this is not only important when you are doing the text analysis, but it is also important when you are searching the data in particular bibliographic database. Okay. So say for example you are doing a research on behavior mapping of university students. Okay. But there when you are searching in the that particular interface, you are using simply this word. Okay. So using some wild card, you can include this particular word also in your search query. So this is where you can extract a good data set from that particular bibliographic database, and then you can do the analysis. Okay. So let us now start understanding regular expression from very basic. Okay. So take an example that these are the 4 words. Okay. So one is Mohit, then one is Mukesh, then one is Vijay, then one is Priyanka. Now, what is common in these all 4 words? Can you identify any patterns in these particular 4 words? So the first pattern, if you see here, that there are 2 words that starts with M. Okay. What are those 2 words? One is this one is this one. Okay. Then we have another pattern in this particular word is that there are 2 words which have the 5 letters. Okay. What all those 2 words? One is this Mohit and another word is Vijay. Okay. So there are 2 words are there that have 5 letters. Any other pattern you can see in these words? So there is another pattern is that there are 2 words which are having even number of letters. What all those 2 words are? One is Mukesh and another is Priyanka, because here we have 6 letters and here we have 8 letters. So there are 2 words that have even number of letters. Okay. Any other pattern you can see in this particular 4 words? So another pattern in this particular 4 words are that all the 4 words starting with capital letter. Okay. So what exactly it is? That all the 4 words are starting with a capital letter. Any other pattern you can see in this particular words? There is one more pattern is there. What exactly that pattern? So that pattern is that all the 4 words are also ending with a letter, but that is in lower case. Okay. So in starting it was a uppercase. Okay. So this was a uppercase. So this was pattern. Now all the 4 words are ending with a lowercase letter. Okay. So these are some of the patterns in there. So if we have this particular kind of a data set, and if we have to say, for example, we have to extract the words which are starting with M, okay, or maybe the words which are having the 5 letters, how we will do that? So we'll see that in R. Okay. So that, and then you will have more clarity on that how exactly this regex is working. So we already know that how we can create this object. These are our 4 values are there. So 4 words. So I am creating this reg data as a our object. Now, so now our task is that we have to match the words which starts with M. So these are these 2 words. So what we have to do? So we have to instruct this R that there are some words are there which start with M. Okay. Or which start with M which is in uppercase. Then there are some letters are there. Okay. So this is the only thing which we have to express, that there is some words are there which start with M, and we are not specifying that those words are either ending with a lowercase or uppercase, or maybe they have the digit in that. So this is the only thing. So how we will do that? So for that, the first thing is that we have to use this B. What exactly it is? It is a boundary. It says that boundary of a word. So for word Mohit, there are 2 boundaries are there. One is this boundary and another is this boundary. Okay. So we are saying that this is the boundary and this is the boundary. So first thing is that done, our boundary, and our boundary is starting with M. So this is our boundary here, and now we are saying that it should match with M. So our first thing is done. Now next thing is that we want to say that after M there are some letters can come. Okay. So for that we will use W. After M any number of letter size can come. So we are just putting plus. So what this plus is? So this plus is known as quantifier. Okay. So we have discussed now until now, one is this boundary and then this plus sign. Okay. And this plus is quantifier, and this B is boundary of a word. Okay. So in regex we have some thing called as anchors. Okay. So this B is one anchor which define the word boundary. Okay. So this is the particular boundary of a word we have already seen. This is a caret symbol which represent the starting of a string, and then we have a dollar. Okay. Which represent the end of a string. Okay. So where this caret symbol is there, this generally is on the keyboard number 6. So if we see here, so this is here caret symbol is there. So if you press the shift button and use, so here is this caret symbol for starting of a string, and then for dollar we have here on this 4 key. Okay. So here again we have to press the shift key and we can use this symbol. Okay. Then we have some quantifiers also. Okay. So what all these quantifiers are? So one quantifier is this. What this symbol star signify that star is 0 or more occurrence. Okay. Then we have plus. Plus means one or more. Okay. Then we have question mark. Question mark means 0 or 1. Then we have this kind of quantifiers where it represent exactly 5. Okay. If we have to match, let's say for example we have to match a word with exactly 5 letters. Okay. So we'll use like this way. Or if we have to match the words which are having at least 5 number of letters, then we have to use in this way. Okay. Or if we have to use the range of letters, so say for example if you want to extract the words which are having a length of from 5 letters to 7 letter. Okay. So this we have to use, and this is how we can extract the words based on some criteria. Okay. So we will understand this by example in R. Okay. So this is our object, it's already created. Now if we go here, so now we will create our pattern. Okay. So what pattern is? So this exactly is showing that the boundary of a word. Okay. This is a boundary. Then after this boundary, we are giving the letter M. Okay. So that's M is there. Okay. After that, we are saying that after that any number of letters can come. That is why we are using this W plus, and then I am saying that the boundary should be closed. Okay. So this is my pattern. Now if I run this, so in R we have a function called grep which matches the word in a particular data set. So before using any of the function, what first thing we do? We understand how we have to use that function and how we can do that using the question mark sign. So we'll use this question mark and then we put the grep. So if I do like this, so the help is there, how we have to do. So we have to give the pattern. So what pattern is? Then we have to give the that particular data set. Okay, that X is a data set, and we have examples also. Okay. Okay, so this is an example. So this is our object where we have these 4 words, and this is our pattern. Okay. Now I will call this function where my pattern is this and where my object is this. If I do like this, so it gave me the output 1 4. What this 1 4 signify that? So if you remember, we have discussed about the indexing of a element. Okay. So where the first value is located, where the second value is located, where third value is located. So this particular function is giving us the output that whatever the pattern you are matching, okay, that pattern is available on this data set, but on this location first and 4. So the only values located at first and 4 are matching your given pattern. Okay. So if we see that, so what exactly value at our first location? This. And what exactly at the fourth location? Mukesh. So this is what we got from here. If we see this reg data, so this is our first location and this is our fourth location. Okay. And if we see the output of first location, it's Mohit, and the fourth location, Mukesh. So it's matching our pattern. So what our pattern was? That it start with M, and after that number of letters can come, and then the boundary should be closed. Okay. So our thing is done. We have identified that there are 2 words are there in this particular object which start with M, So there is a another argument available in this particular function is that we can simply call this value equal to true. Okay, if we write this value equal to true, now it will not give me the location that at first and fourth location the value is there, what are the pattern you are matching. So now it will give the words which are matching with our pattern. Okay, so if I do like this, so now I got my matching words. Okay, understand? So now move to another pattern in our data set. Okay, so if we see our words, we have these words, and among these words, these are the two words which are starting with M. But among these two words, which we have only one word which are having the 5 letters. Okay, Mohit and Mukesh, they are starting with M, but they are having the different number of letters. Mohit is having the 5 number of letters, Mukesh is having 6 number of letters. So how we can do that? So now our task is only retrieve the word which are having the 5 letters. So what we will do? We will simply so instead of plus sign, what we will do? We will specify that what exactly the length we are looking for. So if we do like this, okay. So what this 4 is saying, that there is only one letter is already M is there. After M, there will be 4 letters. Okay. If you do here 5, and now if you do like this, it will come Mukesh. Because M, we have already specified that M is a letters. And after M, there are 4 letters are there for Mohit. And for Mukesh, after M, there are 5 letters. Okay. Now we have also seen that there are some words are there which are having exactly 5 length. Okay. So how we will do that? We will be using the pattern that there is a boundary. Then after boundary, whenever the boundary starts, from that boundary there are only 5 letters. Okay. So for words which are having the 5 letter, what all those words are? One is Mohit and another is Vijay. How we will define the pattern? So we will say that this is our boundary. After boundary, we want only 5 letters. Okay, there is no any restriction whether it's an uppercase or lowercase or it start with M. So what we will do? We will simply specify this is a word and which is having of a length of 5. Okay, and then our boundary will be closed. Okay, so this will be our pattern. So we'll see in R how we will identify the words which are having a length of 5 letters. Okay, so this is our pattern. So we'll make a new pattern. Now if I call this, my output is Vijay and Mohit. So what exactly it is showing here is that there are two words are there which are having a length of 5 letters. Okay. Now we have also seen that there are two words are also there which are having 6 length and another word is of 8 length. So if I create a new pattern and instead of 5 I just write 6, and now I create my new pattern, and if I run this, so Mukesh. Okay. So for 5 letters we have Mohit and Vijay, but for 6 letter we have Mukesh. Okay. Similar way we can extract the words for 8 letter also. So we will define our new pattern, and then if we run this, Priyanka. Okay. So it's working fine. Okay. Let us now discuss a kind of a scenario where we want to divide these 4 words into 2 parts. So the first part is we want to have the words which are having the length of 5 letters, and another set of words where we want to have the words which are having more than 5 letters. Okay, so how we will do that? We have already seen about the words which are having the 5 length of letters. So we'll see again once more time. Okay, so Mohit and Vijay, and now for more than 5, what we will do? We'll do. Okay, so among the 4 words, there are 2 words are there, Mohit and Vijay, which are having the length of 5 letters, and then we have another set of words which is Priyanka and Mukesh, which are having the more than 5 letters. So Mukesh is having 6 letters and Priyanka is having 8 letters. Okay. So until now we have taken up the very simple words. Okay, so now take some a little complex words. Okay, and these complex words are basically the email ID. So if you have a text data set and you want to extract the email ID, okay, so if you see here, there are 5 words are there, but among these only 4 are valid email ID. Okay, so this is one, this is one, this is one, this is one. Okay, so what will be our pattern for identifying an email ID in the text data set? So what exactly an email ID? Okay, so email ID looks like that there are some words or number or some characters are there. Then we have this @ symbol, and then we have some domain name. Okay, maybe gmail.com. Okay, or another Rediff mail or anything. Okay, or institution domain. Okay, so our basic pattern is what exactly, that some letters are before @ and some letters are after @. Okay, so if we say in simple words, our email ID will be like this, but if we use this kind of a pattern, what it will happen, it will also retrieve this word also, but this is not a valid email ID. So what we have to do, we have to go like this, that there are some letters are there, then @, then there are some letters are there, and then we may go with, like say for example, .com. Okay, but if we use this kind of a pattern for email ID, what it will happen, it will exclude this email ID. Okay, it will take care only of this Gmail, these 3 emails. It will not take care of this 4th email ID. For this email ID, we have to design another regex. For taking up this email ID and also this email ID, we have to think of a different pattern. What pattern it can be? It can be like this, @, then dot, then this, then dot. Okay, and this can be optional. Okay, if we create our pattern in such a way that there should be some letters before @. So here letters will come. After this, there will be something. There will be at least one occurrence. Then here also at least one occurrence. So these 2 occurrences is mandatory, and this is optional. Okay. So our rejects for this kind of a data set can be done. Okay. So this is what exactly you have to notice whenever you are creating your rejects to identify particular pattern in a data set. Okay. Let us now see in R all these examples. Okay. So this is our object. So I am creating it. Now my pattern is my initial pattern. What exactly it is? It is that identify @. Okay. I am not taking care of anything else. I am just identifying if there is any @ is there. That means that is a email ID. Okay. I am considering this fact only. So what I am doing here? So this is a boundary. Then some letters are there. Then @, and then some letters are there. So if I do like this, so this is my pattern. So now if we see here, it has given us 5 possible email phrases based on our pattern. which includes an email ID having digit in it and another is just having @ between the words, which is not a valid email ID. So the first one, mbehra28@gmail.com, is matched with another email IDs because W plus is not only representing letters but also numbers. Basically, it is matching alphanumeric characters. So now we will see that how we will extract only the email ID which are having the .com in the end. So let's take this example. So now my pattern is, so this is my boundary, then letters are there, okay, @ then some letters, and after that letter there is .com is there, okay. So this is my pattern, and now if I use this pattern and see, okay. So now these two email, so now here these two are excluded, okay, among which one is a valid email ID but another is not a email ID, okay. So this is how our rejects identified only those email ID which is having .com in the end and @ is in between, okay. These two criteria we have taken up, okay. So if you see this pattern again, that this is a boundary of a word, okay, then we have some letters, after that those letters we have some @, then we have some again letters, and then we have .com, okay. Now if you see here that among these three email ID, there are two email IDs which is having some kind of more pattern, okay. What that pattern is? That pattern is that it start with info, okay. It has info in starting, okay. So we are adding one more condition in our pattern. So what exactly that is? So our pattern is info. So the boundary start with info, then we have some more words, then we have @ and then some more words, or now we will add some, okay. So now my pattern is this, and if I run this, okay. So in earlier email extraction we have three email ID, but now we have a another restriction that we want only those email ID which start with info, okay. So let us now discuss if we have a text where we have some digit also, some numbers also, how we will do that, okay. So for that let us assume that we have this object where we have these Mohit and this 1 2 3 4, this Mohit 1 2 3 4, okay. So here a one practice question for everyone is that what exactly this 1 2 3 4 will be in this particular object reg data set, okay. So you have to answer this in the discussion forum, and please let us know what exactly this 1 2 3 4 is here, okay. So if we have to match a any digit or presence of any numbers in the data set, how we will do that? So we will be using this D. What D is? So I am focused only on extracting the words which are having some digits, okay. I am not bothered about of any letters or symbol. I am just focused on only on the these particular digits, okay. So for that we have used D, okay. So now we will discuss about the groups and the range in the rejects, okay. So if you have remember when we were searching in the this Google slide about license, so we have written LI, okay, but it is also matching the letters in uppercase case also, because in that case the license, the first letter of that particular word license, it's uppercase, but we are searching with L small, okay. So sometimes it is very useful for us to search only on the uppercase or maybe on the lower case or maybe mix of uppercase and lowercase. Okay, or maybe we want to see that the first letter should be uppercase, or maybe end of the that letter is uppercase or lowercase, or maybe it contains any of the numbers. Okay, so for that we will discuss about what all the groups and range we have. So let us assume that we have this particular object where we have different kind of words are there. So we have taken up the all uppercase, then one uppercase letter, then we have all lowercase, then we have one letter lowercase, one letter uppercase, three letter lowercase, two letter lowercase, then we have digit, then we have a mix of we call it as alphanumeric, then this is again alphanumeric, but in both have some different pattern. Okay, so if you see here, the digits, the numbers are in the end, but here the numbers are in the starting. Okay, then we have another word called garg. If you see here, the garg, though it has four letter word, both garg, but this particular garg has uppercase G in the starting, and this garg word has both uppercase G in the starting also and in the end also. Okay, and then we have another word where we have these one uppercase, then two lowercase, and then we have digit also. Okay, so I'll create this object. So now our focus is only thing that we want to extract only those words which are having the lowercase. Okay, we are not focused on any of the numbers or any of the uppercase. We are just simply focused on lowercase. We want only lowercase words. Okay, so for that we have this called A to Z. Okay, this particular A to Z is representing that all the words whatever it will be retrieving, those words should have the alphabets in the lowercase only, so it can't have the letters in uppercase. Okay, so if we do like this, so my pattern is this, and now if I call this function, so what exactly it is extracting? So if you see here, it has this word also. So all the words where there is a presence of lowercase, it has matched only those words. Okay, so if we see here, it has retrieved 9 words from this particular object, and all these 9 have somehow occurrence of a lowercase alphabets. So if you see this, it has AR, then it is full lower case, then it is 1, then this is 3 lowercase, then it is 2 lowercase, then again here lowercase but digit also, and here also lowercase, then lowercase, and this is also lowercase. Okay, now we will explicitly mention that we want only those words which are starting with lowercase. Okay, so here if you see, we have a words which are starting with uppercase alphabets or maybe some digits. Okay, so now we will explicitly mention that starting with lowercase. Okay, after that I don't care. Okay, I am just caring about the words which are starting with lowercase. So this is my new pattern, and now if I do this, so if you see here, okay, so in our previous pattern, in this pattern if you see, it has retrieved these 9 words. Okay, but now it has retrieved 5 words, only those 5 words which are having the lowercase alphabet in starting. Okay, so these words are starting with lowercase alphabet. Okay, so in similar way we can have another symbol is this, where we want that ending should be with the lowercase. Okay, I don't care about the words which are starting with any of the things, but it should be end with the lowercase. So how it will be? So this is our pattern. So our lowercase a to z, any of the alphabet can come, but it should be in the end. Okay. So now if I create my pattern like this, so this is my pattern. Now if I see for this, see, there is a difference between this output and this output. Okay. So earlier here our restriction was on the starting of the word. Okay. But now we have a restriction in the end of a word. So the end of a word should have a letter in lowercase. So this is similar, this is similar, this is similar. Only thing is there, earlier we have this Mohit 1 2 3 4. Now we have 1 2 3 4 Mohit. Okay. Because it is matching that in the end this T is from the lowercase alphabets. Okay. Now if you want to have the both the restriction, that it should start with the lowercase alphabet and it should end also with the lowercase alphabet. What we will do, we'll call these both the symbols in this particular pattern. Okay. So what we will do, so this is our starting. So what we are saying, starting should be from lowercase and then ending should be also from lowercase. So if we create this pattern, and now if I run this, okay. So now it gave me the only word M which have only one alphabet, which is of course like one alphabet that is in the lower case. That means it is matching that it's starting also and it is ending also in lower case. But I was looking for the output like this. I want this or maybe this. So somewhere something is missing. Okay. So until now, if we are doing like this, our focus was just in the end of that letter. Okay. So our focus is this only. If you see for this end and for starting, our focus is this. Okay. So what exactly it is representing? It is representing that retrieve the word which is in the lower case and it have only one alphabets. Okay. If we have to extract these objects, what we have to do? We have to use plus symbol. Okay. So if I do like this, okay. So now it is matching. If you remember, this plus is for one or more. So what exactly is saying that if we have to see the data, okay, first see the our data. Okay. So this was our data. Here this word is in the lowercase, full lowercase. This word, then this word, then this word. We have only 4 words which are having the lowercase alphabet. Okay. So this particular word is not a in lowercase, only Mohit text M, this MOH and MO. Okay. So this is what exactly it has retrieved. So Mohit text is one word, then this M, then this MOH and then this MO. Okay. That is what exactly this plus sign signify, that starting from a lowercase alphabet and then it can have either one alphabet or more alphabets. Okay. So we have example here where there is only one alphabet, then we have 3 alphabets, then we have 2 alphabets, and then we have these 7 alphabets. Okay. Now if we want to have only two lowercase letter. Okay. So this is where we have discussed about plus one or more, but now if we want to have only two lowercase letter, so we have to call like this. So our pattern is this, and now if I okay, So this is the only word where lowercase alphabets are there, but also in the length of 2. Okay. Then if we have to see for 3, we can see 3 like this, or if we have to see like more 3 or 3 more than 3, so we can put this like in this way, and if we run this, okay, so there are 3 and then these are 7. Okay, so what exactly this representing? That extract the words which are having the 3 lowercase alphabet or more lowercase alphabets. Okay, so now similar to lowercase, we can do the same kind of pattern matching for uppercase also. So for that, what we have to do? For lowercase, what we are writing a small and z in lowercase. For uppercase, what we have to do? We have to call it like this. Okay, so what exactly it representing this particular pattern? So can you guess this? If you can guess, please pause the video here and post your answer in the discussion forum. Okay, it representing that match the words which are starting with capital alphabets, and it should also end with capital alphabets, but those capital alphabets can be one or more than one. Okay, so if we do like this, so this is our pattern. Now if I call like this, see, okay, so our first letter is also in uppercase, then our last alphabets is also in uppercase, and this is only one example where the one alphabet is there which is like in uppercase. Okay, until now we have taken up the lowercase example, then uppercase, but we can combine this also. So there may be the case where we have like words which are starting with uppercase alphabet, or maybe ending with the lowercase alphabet, or maybe they have in between uppercase or lowercase alphabets. Okay, and this generally we see when we do like there is a kind of a writing style, what we call it as a camel writing kind. Okay, so if you see, this is also, so this particular word is also a mix of uppercase and lowercase, just for enhancing the reading, because if I write like this, it won't be that much reading friendly. Okay, but as soon as I write this in capital G, it can be easily readable. Okay, so how to make a pattern of uppercase and lowercase? So before creating any regex for any of your pattern in that particular data set, first see that particular text data set. Okay, what exactly it is, what kind of patterns and what kind of occurrence are there. Okay, and accordingly you can step by step you can do the regex for that particular pattern. Okay, in our particular example we have a word like this GAR, then we have G, then we have this word called Garg, and then we have this. Okay, so if we see these 3 words, what are the exactly the pattern here? Okay, so pattern is that, so in starting there is a uppercase letter. Okay, for here also uppercase letter is there, and here also uppercase alphabet is there. Okay, then we have 2 lowercase alphabets. Okay, so for here what we will do? We will do A to Z. This is Z is small. Then we have A to Z. Then we have A to Z. Okay, and then we have like occurrence exactly 2 here. So we can do like this 2, and for here we have 3. So because our data set is limited to this way, so we can use plus also, 1 or more, and then here also plus, or maybe like if we have a big data set and we have a different number of words. Okay, So there is a chances that if we only want to focus on this, then we have to use this way, but we can use plus also. And then here we have A to Z in uppercase. Then we have this, so this is sold. If we do like this our pattern is done, and here we have then numbers. Okay, so similar to A to Z, what we have for alphabets, for numbers we have 0 to 9. Okay, so our pattern is done in this particular example. Now we will see in R whatever we have made it, whether it's working or not. I have taken up that in starting A to Z. Okay, the capital, that uppercase alphabet is there. Then one or more occurrence of lowercase alphabet, and then in the end it should be the uppercase alphabet. Okay, or instead of this, what we can use this also. It is also giving same thing. Okay, so once you will be like practicing more about regex, so there will be more way of doing the same thing. Okay, but whenever you want to match exactly the same kind of a pattern, so you can like use this way also. But for our case, because our example is small, because we have less number of words, that if we take this plus also, it is giving us the right answer. Okay, okay. So now, like we have for these alphabets from like uppercase or lowercase, similar way we have rejects for like digits. So from 0 to 9. Okay, so let's see quickly about those examples also. Say for example, now our focus is only extracting the words which are starting with digits. Okay, so this caret symbol we are using, and then 0 to 9. Okay, so if I create my pattern and if I call it, okay, so these are the two words are there, 1 2 3 4, and this 1 2 3 4 Mohit. If you see our data set, so there are four words are there which have digits. One is this, one is this, then one is 1 2 3 4 Mohit, and another is this. Okay, but for this particular kind of a pattern, we are focused on only on the words which are starting with a digit. So one is this one and another is this one. Okay, now in similar fashion we can do extract the words which have the digit in the end. So we'll put the dollar in the end. So this is our pattern, and if I call it, so now we have the three words which have ending with a digit. So here it was starting with a digit, but here we have a words which have a digit in the end. Okay, now if we want to have a starting and ending with a digit, how we will do that? So we will put the caret symbol, then our condition, that 0 to 9, and then we will have the dollar symbol. So between this we are only focused. Okay, our focus is that we want that it should start with a digit and it should be end with a digit. In between anything can come. Okay, our focus is this only. So if I do like this, and if I call this, so what exactly this character 0 is showing? This character 0 is showing that there is no such word is available in this particular object where it should start with this digit and end with a digit. Okay, remember here we haven't given that plus symbol or any other kind of thing. Okay, this particular pattern is representing the word which have only one digit. Okay, but we have one word, that is 1 2 3 4, which have 4 digit. So if we write here plus, and then if we do like this, so our 1 2 3 4, that word is retrieved. Okay, so this you have to remember whenever you are creating regex for your pattern, because if you don't write this plus symbol and you are interested in the word like 1 2 3 4, okay, so then it will not extract that particular word. Okay, so but if your focus is only on the words which are having the digits, maybe 2 3 or 4 or maybe more than that, so you can use the plus symbol, or maybe that you can specify the exact length of number of digit you want. Okay, so now say for example, if you want to have this particular kind of a situation where you want to have the words which is uppercase also, lowercase also, and then a digit also. Okay, so how you will do that? So you will make a combination of uppercase, lowercase, and the digit. So we have already seen uppercase A to Z. So in this particular pattern, what we are doing is that it should start with the uppercase alphabet, then it can have the lowercase alphabet, and then we have used plus symbol. Okay, what plus means? That there can be one or more occurrence of that particular lowercase alphabet, and then it should have the digits, it should have the numbers, and for numbers also there can be one or more occurrence. Okay, so if I do like this, so our this thing is done. So there is a one word is there, we start with this uppercase alphabet, then it has two lowercase alphabet, and then it have a digit. Okay, so as I already discussed that the same regex we can write in different way also. Let us see the example of this here. So what exactly I am doing here? We want the word this one. So here I am saying that A to Z uppercase alphabet, then one or more lowercase, and then exactly I am mentioning that we want only those words where we have the occurrence of two digit only. Okay, so if we do like this, and now if I call our this graph function, so it is matched. Okay, if I do here 3, now if I call this, it is showing character 0. That means there is no such word is available in this particular data set which end with exactly 3 digits. Okay, or like if you want to go with this similar kind of a pattern only. Okay, you don't want to use this plus and all. Okay, so the simplest way is use this way. Okay, so what exactly it is showing? We are going by alphabet to alphabet. Okay, so if you see here, this is one character, so we are matching it with this. So this is this task of this is done. Then we are saying there are two lowercase. Okay, O and H is in the lowercase, and then we are saying that two digits are there. Okay, 0 to 9, 0 to 9. Okay, so one is that, another is 2. Okay, we can do like this, and now if I like this, so this can be done. Okay, so so you can do by creating a pattern like this way also. You can exactly mention that you want capital M, then O, then H small, then 1 and 2. Okay, so this is how you can create some regex to match the words in that particular data set. So thank you.